Welcome to another episode of Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy, and I have a request for all of you. Please watch the videos completely. Please like if you think the videos are helpful for you. If you learn something, do comment what you have learned. Your questions I'm answering as best as I can. Many of you wanted pronoun. I saw in yesterday's video that you had asked. Now we are uploading videos on pronouns. Already the first video on personal pronoun is with you. Now this is the second video. Many of you might have friends who are eager to learn English. Please share the channel with them. Ask them to see all the videos completely. Now, today we have some of the other types of pronouns. In this video and the next video, we shall do different types of pronouns. As you can see in the list, today we have reflexive and emphasizing pronouns. I have put them together because the same words have two functions. The same pronouns which are used as reflexive pronouns are also emphasizing pronouns. Function is different, structure is the same, meaning is the same. Then we have demonstrative, interrogative, and indefinite pronouns. These are the 5 varieties we are going to do in this video. Therefore, if you want to know all of them, you need to watch the whole thing. And then you have examples for each of them. Sometimes, wherever they are very important, they are useful for your communication. You need them while speaking, especially in conversation. There I have given you exercises. In certain places like demonstrative, indefinite, I have not given an exercise because these you learn by listening and reading. Please enhance your reading. The more you read, the more you listen, the more you will find how pronouns are used. Also, whenever we are pronouncing something, please note. I just saw a comment where somebody is asking, why do we say P-U-T put? Why do we say C-U-T cut? I explained this very clearly in the video, beginner's video on vowel sounds, vowel and consonant sounds. I told you that don't go by the spelling. English spelling and English pronunciation differ. The spellings are deficient in sounds. We have only 5 symbols for vowels when there are 20 sounds. So if you have asked this question and you are watching this video, please note that the answer is don't go by the spelling. C-U-T, P-U-T we say put, but when we write punt, P-U-N-T or punter, then we don't say P-A-N, we say P-U. So the same U with the same P has different pronunciations. Pronunciation can only be learnt when you constantly listen to English. In your own mother tongue, it will be there. So when I'm pronouncing all the words, even in grammar lessons, I'm reading out everything. Please note the pronunciation. Please follow the videos on pronunciation, not only for pronunciation, but also for grammar. Wherever we have examples, vocabulary, grammar, everything is there in all the videos. It is not as though the video is only for one particular thing. This video has pronouns, but it has everything else also. Let us first go to the reflexive pronoun. Here you find a table where you have the pronouns which can be used both as reflexive and emphasizing. Reflexive and emphasizing are two different functions, but the structure of the pronoun is exactly the same. In the first person, we say for singular, myself, and for plural, ourselves. For the second person, we say singular, yourself, and plural, look at the spelling. For the first time, the second person is changing. Yesterday, we saw that you is there 4 times. Then your became yours in the possessive, and now in the reflexive emphasizing form, yourself becomes yourselves, plural. Then third person masculine is himself, plural of that is themselves. Feminine is herself, plural is the same, themselves. And neuter is itself, plural is themselves. So these are the words, these are the 8 words which form the reflexive function and the emphasizing function. Unlike the personal pronouns which I told you about, which are used for replacing nouns. That is what I told you in the previous video. Now you must remember in this video, in this table, whatever we have, myself, ourselves, etc., can never be used for replacing. They are used to supplement. They are used to hold up the noun or pronoun belonging to the same person and same number. Person is first, second, third. Number is singular and plural. So if you want to use myself in a sentence, you have to have the word I, myself. If you want to use ourselves, we have to have we, ourselves. Now, many thousands of times, I have heard many students, many grown-ups, adults, adult learners also, people who are working in high posts in offices, introducing themselves by saying, myself, Sumita Roy. You cannot say myself, Sumita Roy. You have to say I, myself. If somebody is questioning you by saying you can't be Sumita Roy, you are somebody else, then you can say I myself am Sumita Roy. That means you are using the emphasizing, uh, you know, usage. Then you want to use the reflexive usage. You say I introduce myself. I myself. That is how it is. I will explain in greater detail with more examples. So yourself, you have to say you yourself. Alone you cannot use. You cannot say that, we often have in conversation, help yourself. Now what is the complete grammatical sentence? You help yourself. Many people say yourself and your family are invited. Now, not yourself, you and your family. That is how we have to use. Then plural also, you yourselves. Then he himself, she herself, it itself, they themselves. Without the subject pronoun, in the correct case and number, you cannot use these pronouns. Please remember, wherever you are using these pronouns alone, without a supporting noun or pronoun, like, a noun like relative pronoun, which we will do in the next video. That also, who helps himself or who serves himself. The word who here is a pronoun. It supports the reflexive emphasizing usage. Never use these pronouns alone as subject object. That is not allowed. We have already seen the words which come as reflexive and emphasizing pronouns. Let us now distinguish between them. What is the reflexive function and what is the emphasizing function? The reflexive function, as you can see from the word reflection, when you look at the mirror, what do you see? You see yourself. You see yourself. So that is what is reflexive. That means the subject and the object of the noun are the same person. The same person when it is used as a subject and an object, not two different nouns, but the same noun or the same pronoun referring to the same person or thing with the verb in the middle, subject, object, same. That verb acts as a mirror and it reflects. So reflexive use is that. When we are using a reflexive pronoun, we are using the verb which takes uh, an object, and the subject and object are the same pronoun, the same person. This usage is where you have to use reflexive. You cannot say, I teach me English. I is subject, me is object, but you cannot use I and me because they refer to the same person. You feel like using me because I told you in the earlier video that me is the word for the object place. But here, me and I are represent the same person, reflection. You know, you don't see somebody else's face when you look at the mirror. You see your own face. So that noun, which is again reflected as the object of the verb, this is where you have to use the reflexive. So in all these sentences, you will find that the verb is there in the middle. On one side, there is the subject. On the other side, there is the object. Both of them refer to the same noun or pronoun. So you have a sentence, I teach myself English. Teach is the verb. I and myself represent the same person. We helped ourselves to some dinner. Helped is the verb. We ourselves refer to the same person. You can change yourself for the better. Now, you is the subject. Can change is the verb. Yourself is the same pronoun as you. So you cannot say you change you for better. You and you are both subject and object. But here it is you change yourself. That is the reflexive use. You must gift yourself. Must gift is the verb. You and yourselves. Here it's plural. Plural you is also you. We don't have use. No such word is there. So you and yourselves, whatever you want. He killed himself. Now, killed is the verb. He and himself are the same person, same pronoun. She stopped herself from spending money. Stopped is the verb. She and herself refer to the same thing. Then you have, they thanked themselves for the timely decision. They took the decision and then they said, oh, we did a good thing. They thanked themselves. Same person. They and themselves are the same here. Instead of they, you can use a noun. Instead of she, you can use a noun. Instead of he, you can use a noun. All third person possibilities are there. First and second person, you can't use a noun because the speaker cannot say, instead of I, the speaker cannot say his name or a man or some such thing. So for third person singular plural, if we have a noun which refers to the object also, the subject object are the same noun, then we have to use the reflexive form. Instead of saying he killed himself, you can say the man killed himself or a man killed himself. So a man and himself are the same. Instead of saying she, you can say a lady, a girl, a person, or you can give a name, any name also you can give. You put a name of a girl or you put a name of a man, and then you use herself or himself along with it. They, instead of they, you can say a group, a committee, a group, a team. All these are possibility because they are all they. You can say all neighbors, all you can say members of the family. These are all possibilities for using as the subject, but they is the replacement for them, so it becomes themselves. This you have to remember. Now, the same words, myself, ourselves, etc., are used in another function, and that function is called emphasizing. Emphasizing is to put extra force, extra meaning, extra importance to a noun. Usually, when we are writing, if you want to make anything important, we either underline it or we bold it, we put it in a different color. So many ways of emphasizing are there in writing. But in speaking, you can't do that. You can't say, stop, stop, I have to underline one word. So, how do you emphasize a noun or a pronoun? We are not emphasizing all words in English. Every emphasis, every part of speech emphasis is different. For emphasizing a noun or a pronoun, you again use the same words, not reflection, not subject object, but emphasizing a particular noun in the sentence. Either the subject noun or the object noun can be emphasized by using the same words which we used as reflexive. The reflexive emphasizing, structurally no difference is there, but functionally they are totally different. Unless you know this, you make many mistakes. People are very fond of using this because it looks like a big word, it looks like a very interesting word, myself or themselves. They say, oh, such a big word, such an impressive word, and they use it very often in the wrong way. These are very rarely used. They are very precious pronouns. The real used pronouns are the personal pronouns. You use them all the time, like a 10 rupee note. But these are 500 rupee notes. You spend them carefully. You spend them only when necessary, not out of turn. So look at these sentences. I myself decided to join this company. Somebody is telling you, why did you join this company? You should have not joined here. You should have done something else. You should have decided to go elsewhere. Then you want to emphasize that the decision was yours. The speaker wants to emphasize that he or she took the decision. So you say, I myself, immediately following it. I myself makes I stronger. It makes I emphatic, emphasizing, emphasis. All these words can be used. We ourselves have to try to be happy. People are looking outside for happiness. There are many happiness courses, but what do? We ourselves have to find, happiness. We can't depend on others. We ourselves. Emphasis on the we. We can't underline it while speaking. So we say we ourselves. You yourself are to blame for this failure. When we fail, we tend to blame others. So he says, not correct. You yourself are to blame. You yourselves must read all the lessons. Somebody says, I will read a lesson, my friend will read another lesson, and we will do, combined studies. Not correct. You yourselves, all of you, have to read all the lessons. The leader himself, now look at the noun usage here. As I told you in the earlier slide also, you can use a noun instead of a pronoun. You can say, he himself adopted this strategy. Instead, you can say, the leader himself adopted this strategy. The instructor herself practiced yoga along with the participants. So you can say she herself or the instructor herself. The cat itself drank all the milk. You might think, where did the milk go? So the cat itself, cat is neuter, so we are using the cat itself. They themselves promised to organize the event. They themselves, they here might be the group in charge of the program. So this the noun can be used, a longer noun can be used, but the emphasizing pronoun can emphasize the noun or pronoun. It can emphasize both. Using this emphasizing pronoun is also very important because very often we, want to say it. Suppose you go to a house which is very old, you say, the house itself is haunted. Haunted means there are ghosts. So, unless you say the house itself, the sentence does not get the kind of color, the kind of attention, the kind of meaning which you want to convey. When you want to improve your communication, you have to learn these expressions so that your communication becomes more effective. Learning a few phrases, a few sentences, or a few words is not going to improve your communication long term. That is why I'm making these videos so that you have long term improvement. And once you learn well, you will never forget. That is the guarantee which you can take, that you have to learn it properly and then you will never forget. But if you watch 2 minutes, 3 minutes of each video, you are not going to get any benefit. Not only should you watch the whole video, but you should watch it again and again because the lesson gets repeated. In a classroom, you don't have this opportunity because the teacher comes, teaches, and goes away. But today, technology has given you a great advantage. So please do that. Many of you have been saying, please tell us about pronouns. I'm telling you about pronouns. Now you have to learn them and practice them. Let us move now to some exercises. You can see the question which is given to you. Say whether the underlined are reflexive or emphasizing. I gave you the difference already. Reflexive is when the subject object are the same and the object forms the pronoun. Emphasizing is when the subject can be emphasized by putting the pronoun next to it. The object can also be emphasized by putting the pronoun next to it. It does not have subject-object relationship. It is side by side, a noun or a pronoun given extra importance. So these are the sentences. Let us read. She completed the work by herself. Herself is the pronoun. It is underlined. Now it is up to you to tell me whether it is reflexive or emphasizing. I'll give you the answers in the next slide. She herself wants to do all the work. Again, the same herself is underlined. Whether the function is the same or different, you have to identify. We enjoyed ourselves at the party. We ourselves went to the party very late. They themselves admitted their fault. The problem itself was very difficult. So these are 6 sentences where the emphasizing or reflexive pronouns, which are the same pronouns, they are underlined. But the function is different. The pronoun might be the same with different functions. That is why I have used similar pronouns like herself, there is twice, ourselves twice, themselves once, itself once. So let us see what the answers are. You try it out yourself before you check the answers. Here are the answers to the first 6 sentences. She completed the work by herself. Completed is the verb. She and herself are subject and object. Herself is prepositional object. You have already learned this in the nouns third video. So by herself. So herself is object. Subject and object refer to the same person. So it is a reflexive usage. She herself wants to do all the work. She herself. She doesn't want to give the work to others. So emphasis is on she, not others. Therefore, it is emphasizing. We enjoyed ourselves at the party. We is the subject. Ourselves is the object. The verb is enjoyed. Therefore, it is a reflexive form because subject-object reflection through the verb, that is what we see as reflexive. We ourselves went to the party very late. Now, others came late, but we ourselves went late. We also went late. You want to emphasize we, then you use we ourselves, emphasizing. They themselves admitted their fault. Others did not tell them they are wrong. They themselves, they are stressing the fact that they is getting emphasized makes it emphasis. The problem itself was very difficult. The problem itself. Now you can see how emphasizing is usually immediately next to its noun or pronoun. Reflexive is separated by a verb. When you are using these two, you must keep this in mind. Tomorrow, when you listen to somebody speak, when you listen to any lecture, or when you read something, if a pronoun of this kind comes, you just analyze it and see, is it emphasizing or is it reflexive? This kind of a thing, if you keep doing, you have a firm foundation in grammar. Here is the continuation of the exercise where we have another few sentences. They hurt themselves during the fight. You must know yourself to make any progress. You yourself must make progress. God helps those who help themselves. The poets themselves have written about this. The actor himself did not know the script. Now you see how they is the pronoun, themselves is there. Then you is the pronoun, yourself is there. Again, you is the pronoun, yourselves is there. Who is the pronoun, themselves is there. Poets is the noun, themselves is there. Actor is the noun, himself is there. Now, all these reflexive or emphasizing ones are underlined. Again, you have to identify which of them is reflexive, which of them is emphasizing. Look at them carefully, judge the function carefully. I hope you have understood what I tried to explain, because these pronouns are the maximum mistakes people make while speaking and writing. Very often, the reflexive emphasizing pronouns are used wrongly. That is why I'm devoting much time to it, and I hope you are able to follow. Let's now go to the answers. They hurt themselves during the fight. Hurt is the verb. They and themselves are the subject and object of that verb. Therefore, it is reflexive. Wherever I've put are, it is reflexive. You must know yourself to make any progress. Must know is the verb here. You and yourself are the subject and object of that verb. Therefore, it is reflexive. You yourselves must make progress. Now, there is no verb in between them. You yourselves comes together. Therefore, it is emphasizing. God helps those who help themselves. Who is here a pronoun? Who and themselves refer to the same pronoun. God does not refer to this pronoun. It is who and themselves refer to the pronoun, separated by the verb help. So who becomes here the subject pronoun, themselves becomes the object, and the usage is reflexive. The poets themselves have written about this. The poets and themselves are side by side. There is no verb in between them. Therefore, the usage is emphasizing. The actor himself did not know the script. Again, you have the actor himself side by side. The noun or pronoun immediately followed by the emphasizing pronoun. The noun or pronoun separated by a verb from the reflexive pronoun. This is how we identify them. Keep using them so that you don't make mistakes. Now we move on to the next variety. We finished reflexive and emphasizing. Now we have come to number 3, and that is demonstrative. Demonstrative pronouns I showed you in the first noun video for beginners. That is where we began. After the introductory video, I gave you a video for beginners where there was a table and all these 4 demonstratives were used. But just like the possessive, the demonstrative also has 2 functions. The word is the same. This, that, these, and those. These are the 4 demonstrative pronouns, but they have an adjective function. If a noun comes immediately following, then it is an adjective function. If no noun comes, instead a verb comes. That is a noun function, immediately if verb comes behind a word, then that is the noun function. And the pronoun does the noun function. Therefore, if a verb is there behind the word this, that, these, and those, it is a pronoun usage. If a noun is there immediately following it, then it is an adjective usage. We call them as demonstrative adjectives, and we call them as demonstrative pronouns where they do the function of the noun. Look at the sentences. This is a good exercise. Now you see, this is followed by a verb is. Noun is far away, that is the object. So we say, this is doing the work of the subject. It is alone and it is doing the work of a noun. Therefore, it has no problem at all. It is a pronoun which carries out the function of the noun, and it is demonstrative because it points out. This is a good exercise. We are talking about the exercise, but we are pointing to the exercise. That is what demonstrate means. Demonstrate is to show, to point out, and that is what this word is doing. Now look at the next sentence. This exercise is beneficial. Beneficial means it helps you. It makes you healthy. So this exercise is the noun, I already told you. But unlike the first sentence where there is a verb after this, in the second sentence, there is no verb. Instead, there is a noun. So it becomes an adjective function. The word is the same, but the function has changed. Demonstrative pronoun to demonstrative adjective. Now look at the next one. That was our old school. That was. Now see, the verb is immediately there. So when verb is immediately there, it does the function of a subject. Subject can only be noun or pronoun. Therefore, it is a pronoun. That school is 100 years old. So that is followed by noun school. Therefore, it cannot be a pronoun. It is an adjective. These are my friends. These. No other subject in the sentence. Immediately verb comes. Therefore, it is a pronoun. These friends work in the same office. These friends, friends noun. These is not alone with the verb behind it. These is with a noun behind it. Therefore, it is adjective. Similarly, those are ripe mangoes. Again, are verb. So it is a pronoun. And those mangoes are very sweet. Adjective. Because mangoes is a noun and those is coming in front of it, talking about the mangoes, pointing out, showing, demonstrating the mangoes. This is another variety of pronoun, demonstrative. But since the same words have another function, I have told you about the adjective. While doing the videos on adjectives, I will again repeat the possessive adjective and the demonstrative, because you have to remember that they are acting as pronouns in some sentences, they are acting as adjectives somewhere else. Earlier in personal pronouns, there's a change, at least of the word. Here, there is no change at all. The word is exactly the same, but the functions are too different. Now we move on to the interrogative pronoun, which is the next category of pronouns. I did not give you any exercise for demonstrative pronoun because you have to go to the first video which I uploaded, that is the video of nouns for beginners. There you will find enough sentences which you can take as the exercise and work them out. Now, interrogative means to question. So a noun or pronoun, when it is questioned by a word, that becomes the interrogative pronoun. Here we have who, whom, and whose, which are used for questioning human nouns and pronouns. Which and what are used for questioning non-human nouns. Remember that the answer should either be a noun or pronoun. Only then we call it interrogative pronoun. If the answer is some other part of speech, then we cannot call it an interrogative pronoun. We have many types of interrogatives in English. Pronoun is just one of them. So look at the sentences. Who offered you money? The answer is he or she, you can say. The bank manager is the answer. Offered me money. So who? Bank manager, noun. He, pronoun. She, pronoun. So we can say he offered me money, she offered me money, the bank manager offered me money. Question is, who offered you money? Then you have, whom did you meet yesterday? Whom becomes the question for a noun or pronoun, which is the object of the sentence. Who has to be the subject of the sentence, and whom is the object. So whom did you meet? You is the subject. Then answer becomes, I met an old man yesterday. So old man is here the answer, which is a noun, whom. Or you can say, I met him yesterday. Whom? Answer is him. That means object. It is not I met he. We cannot say that. I met him. So because it is him, question is whom. Then whose is for possessive. Whose child is this? This is Mr. Kumar's child, or this is his child. So the Mr. Kumar noun or his pronoun gets questioned by whose. That is why it's called interrogative pronoun. What day is today? What day? Now here you have, today is Monday. You have easily, you can make out that, the question is being asked. It's not a human being now. It is Monday. So you have what? Which tree gives the coolest shade? The tamarind tree. Now, which tree? Answer is the tamarind tree. Gives the coolest shade. Here, of course, you can also say what gives the coolest shade. Then, what and which. Who, whom, whose are clearer in questioning. Which and what sometimes become interchangeable. Now we have an exercise. There are two pronouns which are in brackets. You have to choose only what you think is right. Whom or whose speech did you like best? Then you have who or whom does the committee want to meet? Then you have who or whose is the next in line? Then you have which or who movie did you see last week? Then you have which or what was the response to this news? Then you have whom or what is the name of your boss? Then you have which or what time will the flight leave? Who or whom can you blame for this accident? Then you have who or whose promotion is due this month. So all of them are questions. The question words are to, You have to choose the right one. I hope you will choose, stop here, work out the exercise, and then move on to the next slide. Here are the answers. Whose speech did you like best? So out of those two, we chose whose. The next one we chose whom. Whom does the committee want to meet? Because, the committee wants to meet, the object will come, him or her or them. So whom, it is asked. Who is the next in line? Then you say he or she or I or you, subject of the sentence. Which movie did you see last week? Then you give the name of the movie. What was the response to this news? Then you give the response. What is the name of your boss? What time will the flight leave? Whom can you blame for this accident? You already, subject is there, so whom is the object of the sentence? When you get the answer, you can say that it is the object. Whose promotion is due next month? The possessive form, his promotion. Or, you give a person's name and say apostrophe S by saying such and such a person's promotion. In this way, the answers are all very clear. You have to choose only one. Then you know that you have got the correct pronoun. Now we have one last category, and that is indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronouns refer to people who are not specified. You're not pointing out to a particular person or to a particular group of people. It is not very clear as to who you are talking about, but you're talking about somebody. We have them in singular and plural. And here many people make mistakes. There, when you use plural, you have to use the plural form of the verb. If you use singular, you have to use the singular form of the verb. So up to everyone, everything, all those are up to that point is singular. All, both, many, few, those are plural. Maximum of them are singular. So you can see someone, something, somebody, then anyone, anybody, anything, one, each, everyone, everybody, everything. These are all singular because you can easily make out by looking at the verb which follows. Someone is knocking on the door. Someone is. Plural would be are, so we don't use it. There is something wrong with the key. There is something wrong, so we have is here. I think somebody has answered this question. So somebody has answered, singular form of the verb. Are you looking for anyone? The verb here are is for you because anyone is the object. Is there anybody at home? Now here you see singular form of the verb is and anybody. Please don't ask for anything now. Here also singular, although you don't have the singular verb for it, it's an object. One must always be positive. One means any person. Each of you has a choice in this matter. Each of you has a choice. Very often, a very typical Indianism is each and every. Please don't use each and every. Either use each or you use every. Don't use them together because that's not a very comfortable construction. Everyone is present here. So you have the word everyone is. He did what everybody suggested. Did you check everything? Up to here, all singular forms. So whenever we use them as the subject, we have to use the singular verb. We will have an entire video on Concord, that is agreement of subject and verb. I gave you a 1-minute video also on that. There you will find again that we are repeating these ideas. Where a singular verb goes, and where a plural verb goes. This happens only in the simple present tense, and therefore we have to only look at the present tense. All are welcome. Are is all are plural. Both have to be present. Both have. Have is the plural form. So we have used have. Many are waiting. Again, are is plural. Way outside. Few have volunteered to help the poor. So you have the word few have. Again, plural. So this is how we use the indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronouns are usually used whenever we talk about something of which certainty is not there. In storytelling, etc., we can use it. But in your official presentation, in your communication, you avoid these because these are very vague. You can't say somebody has completed this file. Who is that somebody? You have to name that person, or anybody can look into the matter. You can't do these things. In official language, we don't use indefinite pronouns because they leave a doubt. But still, when we are talking, we often use it. If you go to the police station, you can say, somebody came and broke into my house. You don't know who the thief was. There, somebody is relevant, it is legitimate, it is formal. But if you go to your boss and say that somebody has spoiled the file which I made or the document which I made, the boss will say, who is that somebody? Give me the name. So you have to be very careful in using the indefinite pronoun. But they are used very often, and that is why I showed you all this. Now we are left with one very major category of pronouns, which we will do in our next video, and that is the relative pronoun. Some of you wanted to learn clauses. There I will mention the relative clause. Of course, we will have a separate video on phrases and clauses much, much later. After pronouns, we have to do verbs. That will take a long time. And in between, I'm giving you other videos also, because if I give only grammar, all of you will get bored. I hope all of you are learning by watching the entire video. I'm repeating myself many times, as all teachers do, but please remember that all my hard work goes waste unless you see the whole video and share it widely with everybody who you think will benefit from this video. Start using all the pronouns. Be very cautious when you use the pronouns. When you listen to a passage, please keep noticing what pronouns are used. It is very important for you to be aware of what pronouns are being used. And then when you speak, when you write, be conscious of the use of pronouns. So these are the various categories of pronouns which I told you. We have now completed the major part of pronouns because personal pronouns, very common and very useful. Then today, starting with emphasizing, reflexive, demonstrative, interrogative, indefinite, all these pronouns are very important for you. And then we have one more video on pronouns. With that, we complete the video on pronouns. So having learned nouns and pronouns, you have learned that subject-object place is now very easy for you. Please watch the videos many times if you have doubts. Always you can comment, and I will try to make one video where I will tell you about step by step learning the language through these videos. I will make that soon so that all your questions are answered. Thank you and all the best.